Hi guys! Here's the long-awaited story time. I just got off of work, but yes, here's the story time for y'all. So I just want to start this off by saying that in no way, shape, or form am I going to drag his name through the dirt. Well, I should, but I'm not going to. Because one, I respect him still, even all the horrible things he's done to me. At the end of the day, that was a person that I loved at some point, and I believe everyone gets a second chance because he's young, and so am I. I'm going to make mistakes in life, but I feel like talking about it will help me heal, so I just want to talk about it, and then I'll get it all out, and then I'm not going to talk about it anymore. That'll be done. So here we go. Made some cute little notes to help me. I have a lot going through my brain, so this just helps me, keep everything together. So here's a little backstory. So me and him were together for a year and a half. We started dating around, October of 2023, and honestly, the start of the relationship, it was really good, and then it slowly got toxic, but I will explain that. Throughout this time, I have never met his parents. He met mine, but I never met his. This is something that was such a red flag to me, but I didn't see until the end. And you're probably like, how did you not meet his parents? Well, cultural-wise, he didn't think it was appropriate, so I never met his parents. So to get into this story, we were started dating October, right? Everything was good. Well, I found out he was cheating on me maybe December of 2023. So not last December, but the December before that. He was cheating on me. I think it's cheating. Y'all can let me know, but I completely think it's cheating. He added back an ex-girlfriend of his, and they were talking about inappropriate things that were in there saved in chat. You get the hint. I don't want this to get demonetized. And when I saw that, I could not believe it. Another thing I want to say is our relationship was long distance. He lives in San Antonio, I live in Dallas, and a lot of the stuff was on the phone. Because at that time, I wasn't really able to drive that far. So we had a long period of our relationship was an online relationship. No matter how much I wanted to meet him, there was always a reason that we couldn't, which I found to be a red flag, but I loved him so much, so I just put my feelings aside for him. So, I put my feelings aside for him, and I made it work. We made it work. There were probably so many other times he was cheating or micro-cheating, but I'm not even going to get into it. But anyways, he was talking to this girl named Emma, and I'm going to call him A, okay? So A was talking to Emma, and they were talking about sexual things that were in there saved in chats from their previous relationship. And he would tell her good morning, good night, all this stuff while we were dating. Once I found that out, which I did because I told him to send me a picture of his best friends list, and he had a hard time doing that, so I knew something was up. We would always, since we were long distance, and I've had stuff happen in the past, I wanted to protect myself by, I know this might sound toxic, but by asking just to see his best friends list, and he would do the same. He actually started asking me before I asked him, and I had no problem with it. So when I saw the message of her name being Emma, I asked him to go in their chats. And when he did, I was disappointed. So we broke up. Later on, we decided to get back together. I just want to say that if you think that's okay, you are an awful person, because you have everything you need. I thought he had everything he needed with me, and he obviously didn't. So, so we got back together. I can't really tell you all the date because I don't really remember, but it was in 2024, the beginning of 2024, we got back together. This time, it got really toxic. On both ends, I want to say that. He would constantly ask me for my phone logs. He'd constantly ask me to share my screen, go through my whole phone, and I realized this was because he was guilty. One time, I was going through my phone, and then I was asking him to go through his, and he did. He deleted something, but then she texted him right as we were going through it, which is crazy. And I'm not going to say her name because there's not a lot of people named this. Let's just call her R. R did not know that me and him were dating, and that was his fault. Neither did Emma. I don't think Emma knew we were dating either. So this is all on him. I'm not blaming them at all. So he started talking to R, saying good morning, good night. They went to the same school. And he was texting her, calling her, just hanging out. And I find that mad disrespectful. You can have friends, but like that, we just broke up because you cheated on me. So I decided that we were going to break up again. This time we took a long break. We got back, this was around like July, and we got back together around September. Everything was fine. And this was September 2024. Everything was fine. We were moving, everything was fine. But I got to the point where I could not be away from him any longer, and I needed to know if I really wanted to give my all to this person. So I finally texted him and said, we need to meet up. I'm willing to drive to San Antonio. So my dad, he was a little hesitant, but he packed up because I am a minor. He packed up and we went to San Antonio. For the weekend, we met, and I was like relieved because I thought everything was going to be okay. We were together, like, it was just such a wholesome moment with us. We didn't fight that whole time, and I honestly just had a lot of love for him. And I'm going to keep it so real with y'all, like, I lost my virginity to him. And I thought that this was going to be the guy that I would marry one day. We had talked about our future together. We had talked about kids. We talked about everything. So when we talked about all that future and all of the kids and everything we were going to have together, it just really hurts now looking back on it because that was a waste. Well, not a waste. It was just a lesson. When I got home, I started noticing a lot of red flags. He would spam call me all the time when I was with my friends, like he didn't trust me. There was a time he called me 50 times. And I soon learned that he didn't trust me to go out because when he was going out, he was guilty. I didn't think anything of it. I saw past, if you're in a relationship with someone and they're throwing red flag after red flag, you're completely like blindsided by it because you want to be with that person so fucking bad. So anyways, once I came home, I saw a text message on my phone. It was maybe the day after I got home. I was in school, and he had texted me and asked for Thanksgiving break if he could ride home with the girl that he cheated on me with. First of all, I just saw you. I just spent all my time and effort going to see you, and when I come back home, you're going to ask me if you can, the R girl, by the way, if you can ride home with her? Because he lived in Dallas, but he was in college in San Antonio. So you're going to ask to ride down with her? No. If you think that that's even okay to ask, like, no. How am I supposed to have trust in you when you went and cheated on me with her? And now you're going to ask me if you can ride home? No. So I was just upset that he wouldn't even ask that because he literally learned nothing. And I was just with him in person. Like, what? So he apologized and said he was insecure and controlling, whatever. Shortly after November 29th, I got into a car accident. Car accident was nearly fatal, and I broke my back, my pelvis, and 3 of my ribs. If you're asking how I'm sitting in a car, I honestly couldn't tell you. Well, I could, and it's God. He came to see me. I was in the hospital for about a week when I should have been in the hospital for a month. I was walking. When I was in the car accident, I was paralyzed. I came out of that surgery able to walk. And I went through a lot. That was the most mental draining thing I've ever gone through. That's why I feel like this breakup was easy, because I had to, like, if you're in that much pain and you're not passing out, like, oh my gosh, it's, you understand. When I was in the hospital, he saw me one time, and that one was when he was going back to San Antonio with his buddy. He came by for an hour and then left, but Maddie, my best friend, was there for the whole week with me. Which, it's okay. I understand that he had stuff going on, but yeah. I would call him as soon as I got out of surgery, and he just seemed like he didn't care. He would answer the phone and be like, I'm really sleepy, I'm gonna go to sleep, like, I'm tired, whatever. And even when I got out of the hospital, I realized that he was very, very dry. I kept pushing, but I needed someone there with me. I needed someone to help me push myself, because mentally I was not in a good mindset. And all I wanted at that time was my boyfriend, and he couldn't even be there for me. So while I was at home, in bed, alone because my boyfriend was busy at his study sessions, I'll get into that later, I started to think a lot about the relationship. Sorry this is so long, but go to part 2, guys. Okay, guys, I'm back. welcome to part 2, and I just wanted to say thank you so much. Oh my god, there's a wasp! There was literally a wasp in my car door, I'm sorry. They're like all over my car. Okay, I'm sorry. So thank you all so much for all the support and love that I got on those 2 videos. Like, I honestly did not expect that at all. So thank you all so much. Let's get back into it. So, he was just very dry. Very, very dry with me. Honestly, I didn't know why. And so I was convinced that when I went to go see him again, everything would change. The first time that I went to go see him, after it was like around February, beginning of February of this year. And it was shortly after my accident. Those of you that don't know, when I had the back surgery, it left me a really big scar. I can insert a picture right here. And I'm very insecure about it. Not because it's ugly in its physical form, but it's just a reminder of everything that happened that night. And I honestly didn't think I'd be ready to make this video right now, but I was like, I feel like it's a good time. So anyways, when I went over, I was very scared of what he would think about it. And he said it didn't bother him. But when you see, like, someone look at you differently, like, you just know. So I knew that there was, I knew that it was something like that. Sorry, it took a minute. So I knew that it was definitely, I thought it was from that. But when I found out what happens later on, which I will get into, that's when I realized. Okay, so I went to go see him in February. Everything was fine. I thought everything was okay. I went home and he was just acting different. His communication skills were not very well. And I remember just it being very hard to communicate with him. He would go out to soccer every other night and wouldn't really, like, we wouldn't FaceTime as much as we used to. And that's okay, but it's like I slowly watched him fall out of love with me. And that's what really hurt. Oh my gosh. So, yeah. Okay. So, then I was like, I'm going to see him again. Around February, after Valentine's Day. I was going to surprise him for Valentine's Day, but that didn't work out. So I decided to surprise him a little later on, but I didn't surprise him like I told him I was coming. I can't keep a surprise. So when I came to see him this next time, he was feeling a little under the weather. I wanted to be there and I wanted to make him feel better because even though he couldn't be there for me when I was sick, I wanted to at least be there for him. He was just like, it was just a cold, but like I still... Okay, so, I was over at his house, and I remember him texting one of his friends, and he said, hey guys, like, I can't do anything tonight, like, I'm with my girl, she's keeping me in a cage. And I just found that really, really disrespectful, but I kind of laughed it off at the time. Because you're with your girlfriend, and I saw him maybe, like, twice a month, if that. Not even. Literally not even. But at first I just laughed it off. Well, when I went home, he was a lot more dry. And there was one time I asked him, I said, can we please just play Roblox and FaceTime? And he was like, yeah, but I was going to go play soccer with my friends. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Go play soccer. It's okay. And he texted them and said... no, like, my girlfriend's keeping me in a cage again, but he said it to more of his friends. That time I kind of blew it off. Well, then I went to Vegas, and he told me that he was going to this... Okay, I want to say this. He had a lot of friends in, like, frats, and I don't agree with frats because I feel like they treat women like shit. Sorry, but... And I was just happy he wasn't in one, but I knew he had trouble making friends. I see why. So I just left it. I didn't say anything about his friends. I don't know them personally, so... Anyways, so I kind of just left it alone. So I left it alone, and I let him be friends with them. Well, one day he tells me, hey, Kaylee, I'm going to a church party thing. where we support the girls of the church. And at that point, I had a lot of trust issues, so I was like, I don't see anything on your church website about it. And he was like, no, like, we have to, like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry that this is so, like, off, but that girl that he cheated on me with, he went to her house, like, her apartment, to drop off groceries. I wanted to include that in there. Sorry, forgot. So anyways, so, like, ever since that happened, when he went to drop off groceries to that girl's apartment, I just didn't trust him going anywhere with, like, a whole bunch of girls, because why would you put yourself in that position? You know? I don't know. And maybe he was really truthful about it, but at the time, I didn't know better. I mean, he had just showed me that he couldn't be alone with any girls, so that kind of, I told him, I said, I don't really think that that's okay, like, you know, because of stuff that's happened in the past. He told his youth administrator that I was keeping him in a cage. And that was where I drew the line, because I was like, you're disrespecting me now. So, I'm not a controlling bitch. I just... Okay. I'm going to move on from that. So, later on, maybe a week after I got back from Vegas, I decided to break things off with him. And it was genuinely one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Because I loved him, but I knew that we weren't going to work out at the moment. But I was still like, in the future, I hope that we work out. But you need to tell your parents. I don't agree with you keeping a secret from them. Poor communication. And your lack of effort. Because shortly before we broke up, I told him I wanted to buy him plane tickets. San Antonio is a 4-hour drive from me. But I was offering to pay plane tickets, that way he could get here sooner. Stay the weekend with me, since I stay weekends with him. And he could not take me to prom, but at least show up and take me to dinner. His excuse was that he was scared to fly on a plane. You're a grown man, I think. So the lack of effort and how he only wanted me when it was convenient for him, showed out in that. He just seemed very off, so I decided to break it off. It was, to this day, one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. To this day, it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but my dad told me that you have to go through hard things in order to find happiness, because he said happiness isn't always good in the beginning. So, I broke up with him, and I was looking back at videos, and I saw that one of the one in my TikTok. Here's a video. And I was like, I want to post this just to, like, show that he, you know, like, I didn't think he was going to blow up, but I was like, hopefully he sees this and realizes that he didn't put in any effort. Shortly after I posted that video, I had some girls text me. They said that he cheated on me, and they provided evidence, and the times matched up with the times I was in the hospital. I had to relearn how to walk. I can't play sports. And at that time, I could not have sex. At that time, I didn't even know if I was infertile or not. And he told me and reassured me. He was like, you're enough for me. I love you, Kaylee. Like, I would never do. So it just really hurt. I found out, and I called him, and he confirmed it. I don't apologize for the things that I've said to him, but I know it's not in character for me to go and bash someone's name, so that's why I'm not inserting his name, I'm not inserting his socials. He will see this video. I know you'll see this video, and you're lucky I'm not saying other things. That could make you look bad, but this is what it's come to, and I really hate that it has come to this. But I feel like this will give me clarity. I hope he at least understands that. So that's the story time for y'all. Yeah. And we have been broken up since March of this year, early March. Late February we broke up, so I've had time to kind of heal-ish, but I'm still healing to this day. I have an amazing support system with me that is helping me heal every day, physically and emotionally. So thank y'all guys so much for the support. I love y'all so much. Bye.